I'm Jackson Rudolph with Team Paul Mitchell Karate, and this is your tip of the month: the relationship between strikes and tricks. In any bow form, you have to have balance, particularly creative bow forms. Obviously, in traditional bow forms, you're not going to have too many tricks. So in creative, extreme, musical bow forms where you're performing for an audience or in competition, you need to have a good balance between basic traditional foundation and high-level, entertaining, advanced tricks. And sometimes, especially in a competition scenario, it's not necessarily easy to differentiate what's what. And let me explain that. If I organize a form by doing one strike followed by 2 or 3 tricks, followed by one strike, followed by one trick, followed by another 2 or 3 tricks, that seems like it's all kind of mixed up and evenly mixed. However, when someone watches that, because of the order of it and because of the way that it's organized, it may appear as if there's more strikes than tricks, or if there's more tricks than strikes. So what I like to do when I develop combinations and when I develop forms, I try to make sure that I maintain a balance. I always have a strike combo of 5 to 8 strikes that leads into a trick combo of 3 to 6 tricks. Once again, as we talked about last month, these tricks should go from low difficulty and build up to high difficulty throughout the combo. And after each of those trick combos, you always want to finish with a big, strong strike or a big, strong pose that will lead into yet another striking combo. There will be some judges that will downgrade you for having too many tricks and not enough strikes, which makes sense because in the end, it is a karate tournament. However, there are also judges that will downgrade you for having too many strikes and not enough difficulty in your form. So idealistically, you want about a 50-50 balance. You want about the same number of strikes as you do tricks. Now, be very careful with the way that you interpret that, because having the same number of strikes and having the same number of tricks is totally different from distributing them equally. So think about it this way. It takes a much longer time for me to do one trick, say a release, for instance. I do a release. That takes a much longer amount of time than it takes to do one strike, say a forward strike. So I don't want to make sure that I am doing the same number of tricks as I am strikes. I want to make sure that I'm spending the same amount of time doing tricks as I am doing strikes. So an 8-strike combo may take the same amount of time as a 4-trick combo, because strikes are just that much faster than tricks are because they're from point A to point B, whereas tricks are much more complex. So the most important thing when you're building combos, building performances, is to always try to keep this balance equal, because we have to keep tradition alive. We don't want the sport to evolve into this thing where kids just come out and do an entire baton twirling routine and have 2 or 3 strikes interspersed throughout the form. You want to make sure that there's just as many strikes, there's just as much time spent striking as there is spent tricking. The tricks are for the entertainment, the strikes are for the actual martial arts background. A lot of the times I'll tell my students, you win the tournament with your karate, your tradition, your basics. You win the crowd with all of your tricks. You can get a 9.99 and win the tournament with your karate. You get a 10 and you wow the audience and you wow the judges with your tricks. Very, very big difference there. So always make sure you keep tradition and embrace innovation. I'm Jackson Rudolph, and that is the relationship between striking and tricking, your tip of the month.